Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. What if I told you that the most popular age to retire in America is actually years earlier than the traditional retirement age? And that the difference of just 5 years could shrink your investment portfolio needs by tens, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into why timing your retirement can make or break your financial future, and more importantly, how to make those last 5 years work for you. Let's start with the facts. While the traditional full retirement age for Social Security is 66 or 67, the median actual retirement age in America is just 62. This means that people are retiring roughly 5 years before they're eligible for full Social Security benefits, and even before they're eligible for Medicare, which tends to kick in at 65. So why is 62 so popular? Well, it's the first age at which you're eligible to claim Social Security benefits, and if you claim at this age, you do claim a reduced benefit. Many employer-sponsored pension plans or retirement plans are first eligible for collection around this age, and a lot of people have health concerns, job concerns, and just a desire for more free time, so they want to step away from the workforce at the earliest possible age. But claiming Social Security early and stepping away from the workforce and starting to draw on your investments has a big trade-off. It has a big impact on your portfolio. Let's take a moment to talk about Social Security. Should you claim early? Should you wait until full retirement age? Or should you delay? Importantly, let's talk numbers. The average Social Security benefit for those claiming at age 67 is $1,976 a month. For the sake of simplicity, let's round that to $2,000 per month. If this is the reference point we're using, claiming at 62 would mean your benefit would drop to $1,400 per month. That's only 70% of your full retirement benefit. If you wait and delayed all the way until the age of 70, your monthly benefit would jump to $2,480 a month. So the choice you make about when to claim Social Security isn't just a simple choice about deciding to claim sooner rather than later. It's also a choice on how much of a gap you have to fill from your investments every single year for the rest of your life. Your claiming age absolutely changes your investment needs. Let's look at a practical scenario. Let's say you have household income needs of $80,000 per year in retirement, and let's say you're comfortable using a 5% rate of withdrawal. First, let's consider a single individual who claims Social Security at the age of 62. This would give them a monthly benefit of $1,400 a month or $16,800 a year. That would leave a gap of $63,200 per year that needs to come from their investments. At this point, at a 5% rate of withdrawal, they would need a portfolio of about $1.3 million. Now, if this single individual instead waited and claimed Social Security at 67, their Social Security benefit would be about $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year. The gap that investments needs to fill at this point shrinks to $56,000 a year. So now this individual would need about $1.1 million in investments. And now let's consider a couple. Let's say they're the same age and they both decide to claim Social Security at the age of 62. We'll assume they have the same Social Security benefit of this $1,400 a month or $33,600 a year. At this point, they have that same income need of $80,000. At this point, they would have a gap to fill from their investments of $46,400. So their portfolio need would be about $928,000. Now instead, let's look at how this couple would fare if they were 67 when they retired and claimed Social Security. Now, at $2,000 a month per individual, Social Security would provide an income of $48,000 a year. At this point, they would only need to draw $32,000 a year from their investments, so they could go into retirement with a portfolio of just $640,000. Do you see how quickly the math changes? Just a 5-year difference on when you claim Social Security can have a dramatic difference in your portfolio needed going into retirement. If you wait just 5 years, the portfolio need could shrink by hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially for couples. Why is the difference so dramatic? Let's put those differences into percentages. For singles, waiting from 62 to 67 reduces your required portfolio by over 11%. For couples, that same delay cuts your portfolio need by a whopping 31%. Why is the impact so much greater for couples? Well, it's because there's 2 Social Security checks, and for every year you delay, that means double the increase in guaranteed income. This means that more of your budget is covered by Social Security, and your investments have to do less of the heavy lifting. And as you approach full retirement age, the value of waiting is even greater. And this effect is multiplied by 2 people. So again, your investments simply just don't have to do as much of the heavy lifting because you have higher guaranteed income streams. Let's talk real dollars for a moment. For every $1 increase in Social Security benefits, this reduces your investment portfolio needs by about $20 when you look at a 5% withdrawal rate. With that assumption, for singles, each year you delay Social Security from 62 to 64, you reduce your portfolio needs by about $24,000. From 65 to 67, you reduce your need by about $32,000 a year. On the other hand, for couples, each year you both delay from 62 to 64, you reduce your investment needs by $48,000 per year. From 65 to 67, it's a whopping $64,000 per year. Every year you continue to work and delay claiming Social Security has a compounding effect because it allows you to retire with tens of thousands of dollars less in your investment portfolio. And this difference actually gets larger in those years leading up to full retirement age because your benefit increases by a greater amount. Why is the benefit more pronounced near full retirement age? Well, it's because the annual percentage increase is greatest during this time. And this allows you to go into retirement with a higher benefit and puts a lesser stress on your portfolio in those early years, which those early years of your portfolio are very important because this is when your portfolio is most subject to sequence of returns risk. Here's the bottom line. Retiring at 67 is inherently more secure than retiring at 62. Here's why. Your portfolio has to last fewer years. You have less of a risk of outliving your money. You get bigger paychecks for life, so you're less influenced by how the market performs because you have higher guaranteed income streams. Waiting means your investments have more years to grow and more time to recover from any market downturns. The risk of sequence of returns, that's the chance that a string of bad market years right after you retire could derail your entire plan, is actually lower when you retire later. By waiting, you don't just shorten the number of years you need your portfolio to last, but you also give yourself the time to build a cushion. Because if you were to retire earlier and otherwise on a very thin, bare bones portfolio, delaying allows yourself the time to build up a cushion and provide a little bit of a cash buffer to prevent against major market fluctuations and setbacks. So going into retirement with a little bit of a buffer in your investment portfolio is a good thing. It gives you a better prognosis for your retirement, so to speak, making sure that your investment portfolio will last as long as possible. And let's talk about something I call the benchmark fallacy. Just because you've hit the right portfolio benchmark for age 62 or 67 doesn't mean it's just as safe to retire at 62. If you retire earlier, even with a well-funded portfolio, you're asking your portfolio to carry a burden for much longer. So it still means that your margin of error is smaller. If you have a string of bad market events or unexpected expenses that come up, this could more easily throw you off track. So by delaying your retirement, it builds in more flexibility and it gives you more peace of mind to know that your portfolio is more likely to last, simply because it doesn't have to last as long. There's also a layer of security beyond math. Social Security itself acts a bit like a longevity insurance policy. By delaying when you claim Social Security, you're locking in a higher benefit for life, and this benefit comes with inflation protection. So ultimately, you're reducing the burden that your investments have to carry. You have less of a reliance on your investment portfolio because you have this higher guaranteed income stream that is going to last with you your entire life. Now, retiring at 62 isn't impossible. It's just riskier. You'll need a larger portfolio, and you're asking your portfolio to do heavier lifting for more years. If you delay your retirement, you're giving yourself more flexibility, by chance more peace of mind, and perhaps a sturdier foundation because you've had more time to build up a more robust portfolio. Let's zoom out and look at what happens if you give your investments just 5 more years to grow. Those last few years right before retirement are the most powerful. At this point, compounding is working harder than it ever has before. In our previous examples, a single individual retiring at 67 needed a portfolio of $1.12 million, while a couple needed a portfolio of $640,000. But what might those portfolios have been worth just 5 years earlier at the age of 62 if we assume a 7% annualized rate of return? For an individual, their portfolio would have been about $800,000 5 years prior. For the couple, their portfolio would have been about $456,000 just 5 years prior. Let's compare those values to the portfolio benchmarks they would have otherwise needed at 62 in order to retire at 62. At 62, our single retiree would have needed about $1.3 million to retire safely. For a couple, they would have needed $928,000 to retire comfortably. So at first glance, it might have looked like they were behind at the age of 62, but by choosing to work for another 5 years and allow their investments to grow, they ended up right on track. They went from a risky situation to a rock-solid financial situation. And keep in mind, all of this was done without them adding another dime to their investments. We just assumed 7% rate of return. So they end up in a very good position by giving their investments 5 years more to grow. Now, of course, we can't predict exactly how the market will perform in any given year, but this does illustrate the power of giving your portfolio just a little bit more time to grow, especially in the most critical years right before retirement. So as you think about your own retirement, remember the difference of just a few years isn't just about working longer. It's about dramatically increasing your financial security for decades to come. Whether you're single or in a couple, every year you delay claiming Social Security could easily translate to tens of thousands of dollars that you would otherwise need invested to have a secure retirement. So in other words, it can also translate to a whole lot of peace of mind. I made sure to include examples for singles and couples in this video because that has been a very popular request. And I want you to know that if you have any other requests, whether that is when to claim Social Security or how to do a drawdown in retirement or simply how to prepare for retirement in any one way or another, leave it in a comment down below. I'd be happy to do a video on it. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Retirement age. This is gonna be a long one. Lawyer sponsored. Is about, don't say about, I'm gonna give you an exact number. My nose hurts so bad. I broke it. It's still broken. Increase in income? Nope. Don't say it that way. That sounds like a fake cop. Nobody thinks that sounds like a real cop, right? I'd be happy to. Leave it in a comment down below. How to draw in frick a need from there. That's embarrassing.